This is the problem with the entire finance industry. This idea that wealth and value and talent and intelligence and skill are related to what's in your fucking bank account. And it's not. It just isn't.
It's funny that you bring this up, that this is a problem all across the finance space, because if you look at the same idea in other spaces, you realize just how ridiculous it sounds. So let me throw an example out there that has nothing to do
Please.
with finance. So something from our other world. All right, audience, in case you did not know, Duncan and I are theater types from way back.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times, Duncan, have you gone to see a performance, whether it was good or not, but you look at the performance and you say, you know what? I know somebody who would have made a much better XYZ character, or who could have performed that song so much better.
Right.
And maybe the person still did fine. I'm not even saying they were terrible, right?
Right.
But how many times did you look at a show that you saw and you knew somebody who could have killed that role?
Oh, yeah.
Way more than the professional actor that they had,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the professional actor that got that may have been perfectly deserving. I'm not even saying they're not. But was it only because of their merit that they were able to do that? Or is it possible they had a whole bunch of legs up? They knew people. They could afford to get the training at XYZ place, where they were able to make all of the appropriate contacts, where they were able to get in front of certain casting directors or agents, or, right? Advantage, 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 as opposed to the person in the back of your head that you know would have blown everyone else out of the water for it. Maybe never had all those advantages. Maybe didn't have the same resources. Every bit as talented. Every bit as hard as working. Maybe even more so.
Well, it's the old joke. There are two artists in Rome. They're both equally talented. They're both incredible, right? One of them is walking around and he finds a dog, a Shetland sheepdog, and he walks up to the palace, Caesar's palace, right? And he asks the guards, he's like, "Yeah, I found this dog wandering around. You guys know who it belongs to?" And the guards bring him in and they take him in front of Caesar. And it's Caesar's dog. And Caesar says, "Oh, thank you for finding my dog. Is there something I could do for you?" And the guy says, "Well, yeah, let me paint you because I'm an artist." And Caesar says, "Sure." That guy turned out to be Michelangelo. Do you know who the other guy was? Nobody knows. Equally talented, equally capable, just didn't get the opportunity. So to sit here and I have wealth and power and all this stuff, therefore it must be entirely based on merit.
I can't think of any other area of life where that is a premise that's even accepted.
No, it's not.
Because it sounds absolutely ridiculous when you apply it to something like an artist or an actor or whatever. Everyone's like, yeah, sure, there's all sorts of them that just never got the break, right?
Yeah. Well,
Why is it suddenly different in finance?
Well, yeah, for every Dave Ramsey, there's probably 100,000 guys who failed. Does that mean that Dave is that much smarter or better, or does he just get lucky? Statistics.
The writer who can't figure out who to get in front of to get their book sold, are they less of a great writer than the person who managed to get in front of the people who could sell their book? Not necessarily, right?
Right. Well, I always think of MASH was a TV show and a movie, but it was a book first, right? The guy who wrote MASH, he got rejected like 14 or 15 times before somebody picked it up. And then it became a best-selling novel. It became a Oscar-winning movie, and it became the longest-running TV show of its time. It ran for like 11 or 12 years.
Lord of the Flies is actually a very, very similar
There you
story.
Go. Yeah.
I forget how many rejections, but I had looked it up when I was teaching that in my film class, and the number of rejections was insane. And then it finally got picked up by somebody, and it's been how many movies and made how many top, book lists and whatnot.
Well, and how many high schools make
an
you?
insane amount of times.
Yeah, and how many high schools make you read that book? I
Right.
mean, it's just so, but it's one of those things where it's like, how much of this is merit and how much of it is luck? Because there's talent is everywhere. What was the old?
Or access to resources, starting off from maybe a slightly better position. It doesn't mean that, somebody who starts off with resources and a better position isn't also worthy of their success, but the point is it doesn't necessarily translate to somebody who didn't have those things
No, not at all.
was not worthy as well,
No, and I think that's kind of the misnomer that we're going through with this is that this the Worthington's law argument, right, is that your bank account, your net worth is your value and your merit. That money can be translated equally, right? The amount of money you have equals the better person you are. And there is a big belief that that's what the case is. And Dave, I think, has proved that that's what he believes. He tries to deny, well, I'm not dogging on poor people, but, kind of, right? Which is what he did. But that's the point, is it has to be that way. Because if it's not, then what it means is Dave's not as smart, as clever as he is. Warren Buffett is not as smart and as clever as he is. These people are not, the royalty is not royalty because they're better than the plebs, than the peasants. It's because they just happen to be born into a circumstantial situation that benefited them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you start thinking about that, if like, okay, I'm a middle income, lower income person. Well, now I'm in this circumstance, and these are the circumstances. And if I recognize that these are the circumstances that are kind of holding me back, now what do I do? Do I get up? Do I do with it? Like if you Google like how to become wealthy, it was 15 habits of wealthy people. Do I get up early? Do I pay all my debts off first? Do I I don't know, join a church? Do I wear boxers instead of briefs? What do I do? And you see a million of these things. And you have entire shows, Dave Ramsey shows, Suze Orman to a degree does this. I mean, the Money Guy show does all this. They all do this. But if you get past that and go, okay, well, wait a minute. This is my circumstance. This is what's actually holding me back. It's not that I'm lazy or worthless. It's that I'm stuck in a position where I can't get ahead. Well, then what's the actual issue? The circumstance. So what do you got to do? If you want to get ahead, you got to start changing the circumstance.
You have to figure out how to address the circumstance.
Which means you either have to get out of it and go somewhere else. You got to either vote to change it. If you're in a job and you're married and you got kids and you're underpaid and you're in desperate, dire situation, unionize. You're not going to be able to negotiate for better pay or better circumstances. But if you get fucking 50 guys with you that are willing to strike, but Dave doesn't want to hear that because it's all about merit. If you have it, it's because of merit. But it's the whole joke about the guys who tell you don't keep score are the guys who are already winning. If they were losing, they would be keeping score.